Hi, everybody. My name is Donna Gorton, and welcome to my show, Willows Bend. Sorry, I'm trying to get my device going for chat. Hi there. Tonight we are on episode number 128, and we're going to be talking about unusual cryptids tonight. And I got pictures too, so my adopted son Aaron will be happy with that. Hi, everybody in my Facebook group, Willows Bend Chat. Love to all of you. I know that Sandy Griffin can watch, but is in mini Facebook jail tonight. Our heart goes out to her that she can't comment, but she can watch. So love and light out to you, Sandy. Just a shout out for you, love. And so, yeah, let me make sure my chat's going to be working. So for those of you who might be new to me, I'm on every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Soma Fusion channel. Now we are kind of on every social media site out there, radio, like YouTube, Facebook, a whole bunch I don't even know, Twitter. We restream everywhere globally. And so with my show, it's a topic-driven show that the audience chooses every week. We vote on it at the end on a bunch of topics and decide what's going to be covered next week. I go research the heck out of it and present it the following Monday. So that's how that works. Please, no shenanigans. I do monitor the chat from my Facebook group, The Willows Bend, simply because when I've done it on YouTube, it's the same crew that goes over there. So, but some people have trouble finding us over there. So I, just for ease of operating, I do it from my Facebook group instead. So if you see me looking over to the side, that's what I'm doing. And hello to everybody out there who's listening in on radio. We appreciate your love and support, and love and light to everybody as always. So I always start my show off, because my crew likes that when I do it, it was circle of protection with using sage, just to kind of block any negativity, ill will, or ill intent sent this way. Can't get in, it's not allowed. So anyhow, and Sandy Griffin messaged me prior saying that, just know that I will be saying thank you for doing it, which I know that. She's like one of my biggest supporters and has never missed a show. And I've only ever missed 2 in almost 3 years now. So good track record. All right. There's a fire for you, Sandy. Right, get you going good here. All right, so with the sage, I cast a circle of protection around everyone watching the show or listening in around the world. If you are, thank you very much for your support. And may no ill will, negativity, or harm enter the group or the show. And may that circle of protection follow everyone outside of it or who's watching or listening in the replay. I also cleanse my stones of all energies that is not their own, with the hopes that they will work with mine. Do my dog, my Dalmatian Jake. Little girl is nowhere to be seen. She's sleeping in the other room, so she doesn't get it tonight. And I cleanse myself of all energy except for my own and my soul sister bodies. So I will it, so mote it be. There we go, guys. And that can keep on burning as long as it chooses. There. And get my glasses on so I can see my chat. Hi, everybody. How's everybody tonight?
I will mention to also Donna that
Yes.
for your listeners, we are live streaming from the Soma Fusion media page directly. So
Yes.
I think your listeners are used to going to over to my Facebook wall as well. And
Mm-hmm.
just letting everybody know that everybody is. That you may have two chats on Facebook, one in your group, one on my page, and one on the official Soma Fusion media page. There you go.
Thank you.
You're
And that
welcome.
mysterious
If
voice for
if you get
anybody who.
lost, it's all in the description.
So if before you come into the show and click it to open it, if there's a huge big write up above it, and that lists everything in there. If there's ever any callers who want to call in, the phone number is listed there, and that is my tiny screen. Area code 929-436-2866. And prompted enter the meeting ID of 522-657-2748. If anyone has any questions, wants to jump in and say hey, whichever. So that's available as well. But yeah, there's always a big write-up above the show posted wherever it's posted, that gives all of that stuff and how to hook up with us, because we really are everywhere with Soma Fusion. And that mysterious voice is our fearless leader, Katie Kamara. And so just for anybody who heard her but didn't see her, she kind of does everything behind the scenes for us, and we love her for that. So rock on, Katie. So that said, I don't know, my chat froze or what. Yes, it did. Okay. Sorry that you're sore and not feeling well, Renee. Okay, so let me see. Let me queue up my pictures here for ease of access. This tablet always takes forever to start up. I did start it up ahead of time, but getting it opened, once it warms up and gets to the desktop, that you can choose stuff, it's a little slow because it's older and it's not a fully functioning tablet. It works for photos for a show in terms of taking what I do. If it's warranted for shows, I will do screenshots from the tablet I'm broadcasting on. And from there, I hold this tablet up so I can share the photos with everybody. It's really about the only way I can do it. So anyhow, hey, Chris, Annette, and Renee, and Lori, and stereo chat. I don't know why you have stereo chat. What do you mean by that, Renee? You mean like Katie coming through? Okay, so what is a cryptid? Basically, a cryptid is defined as an obscure, undocumented creature, typically originating from folklore. Their existence is only recognized as, quote, pseudoscience, which is also called fringe science, which isn't recognized overall by mainstream science, which, they want to. Sandy's commenting. Yay, good for you, girl. I know, except he's got spikes on his back, Sandy, the Pugwudgie. I just love that name, Pugwudgie. um, so pseudoscience isn't recognized by mainstream science. It's considered fringe science because it's not something that there's hardcore evidence of. But with cryptids, they're thought to exist. It's just there's never been any hard evidence that we can hand to science and say, oh, here's a Sasquatch with a bow on its head for everybody to see. Or, those things haven't been fully proven that they exist, but they are thought to. And so it's also a quote collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on scientific method. So again, it's a matter of belief in these things or not. One can choose to or not. I am personally of the belief that unless science can say it 100% does not exist, I say, why not? Why can't it? Unless you can prove to me empirically it doesn't, then I say yes. There then exists a possibility for it to. You got more chats going on at once. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that chat's really always active, Renee. So Katie was just basically saying that it is available if people go over to the Soma Fusion site, that there is a chat available there as well, both on Facebook, and we are online with a webpage for somafusion.com as well. So people can be in kind of any of those places to watch and or listen. YouTube also has its own chat, of course, but it stays pretty quiet over there that I've ever noticed. So unless it's you guys coming over to see me in there. So
Currently right now, Soma Fusion Media, the page itself, everybody's been over there as well.
oh,
So you
cool.
kind of got people scattered on my wall and on the Soma Fusion Media page.
Nice.
So
Well,
there seems to be more people on Soma Fusion Media on the page itself rather than my wall. So yeah, if everyone's lost and confused, maybe join where the crowd, follow the crowd.
Exactly. We are too, so don't worry. Yeah, it is viewable in any of those places. So it really, you can be in any of those places. I personally can't be in obviously all the chats at once. So I monitor my group's chat on Facebook, the Willows Bend chat, just for ease of giving everybody a centralized location from my group to go to. But there are those who have trouble getting into my show for some reason. It is a private group. So if you want to see it over there, you have to ask ahead of time to join before the show starts. But it is still always going to be viewable on the Soma Fusion page and or website. So regardless how you choose to get there, you can get there, and the more the merrier. We love having you. So, and thank you to everybody who is listening or watching wherever you're seeing it or hearing it from. Okay, hey Miss Sandy. So yeah, I mean it is broadcast globally, guys. So that's why we are kind of a little bit of everywhere. Is that because we are going out everywhere. So it's not just limited to just Facebook. So. All right, back to the cryptids. So I've kind of compiled lists of the more unusual. I mean, some of them are going to be familiar to people who are watching and listening. I do have photos, like I said, screenshots, or some of it is artwork or illustrations. Others are photos that were taken or newspaper clippings in some cases of news articles that were published back in the day or whenever the incident happened. So we're going to show those as we go. There's going to be some that are familiar, of course, but others are, I tried to find more unknown ones, more unusual ones, because that's really what tonight's topic is about, is the unusual ones. So anyhow, let's get rocking this out. I don't know where my Aaron is. Hey, Tanya, because he loves the photos. Oh, that's how you're commenting, Sandy. Well, cool. I still gave you a big shout out at the beginning, so regardless. All right, so the first one, which should be familiar to everybody, is the Loch Ness Monster, aka Nessie, and or / Champ. Now, these are similar creatures that people have reported both in Lake Champlain in the United States and the Loch Ness in Scotland, hence the Loch Ness Monster. So Nessie reports describe it to be about 20 feet long with dark gray skin, and usually is reported as having humps with flipper-like arms shaped like paddles, head similar shape to a horse's head. And I also actually just saw a new video taken today that was caught on, I guess, like how there's Google Maps online. Well, if one is an Apple product user, there is also an Apple Maps app that one can use. And a guy had submitted his video or photo to one of those shows online that, does compilation clip videos from unusual things around the internet. And he had he noticed something on the screen for Apple app or Apple Earth, whatever. And he tuned into it, and it kind of showed the shape of what the Loch Ness Monster is assumed to look like. The head was a little bit different, but a lot of different things could account for that. It was just under the surface of the water, looked like it was in motion, so it could have been water going over the head, but the head was bigger than what is typically seen. Ouch, Jake, please don't kick me in your sleep, honey. So I do have now people who see this liken it to or wonder if it's not related to the supposedly extinct dinosaur, the plesiosaur. Reports have varied over the years, but they've been happening. Mainly, there was like a whole flourish of them back in the 1930s for the Loch Ness Monster, but they go way, way back before then, back into medieval times, where there was some alleged story where there was I think it was a bishop who had heard reports of this monster from the river attacking people, and he approached it, held up his cross, and basically said, "Beast be gone," or something like that. And it took off and didn't harm anybody, where it had been killing people allegedly. So that's an ancient time story for the Loch Ness Monster. I do have a fossilized skeletal view. There's Aaron, who's on the YouTube show. You can see it anywhere, Aaron. You can see it in the YouTube chat. Most people go to either the Soma Fusion page or here in Willows Bend group. So yeah, I do have pictures tonight, sweetheart. So this is the skeleton, the fossilized skeleton of the plesiosaur, which is what the Loch Ness Monster is thought, if it exists, of what it's supposed to be. So let's do our best to kind of get these to show up on air tonight. There we go. So that's kind of like the skeleton of it. So you can see its shape of its head is kind of arrow-shaped, or related to looking like a horse's head. But this thing is about 20 feet long. It was supposed to have gone extinct about 66 million years ago. However, there's been talk about whether or not it's possible that one got trapped in the loch somehow, or there's some underwater passage perhaps that allows it to travel back and forth to have more prey available to support its diet. It's said that there is not enough of a food supply available in the loch to support that size creature. But here is a artist rendering of one with like what they're thought to have looked like in life. And then it has like a baby swimming next to it. So something like that is what Loch Ness Monster is thought to be, as well as the creature from the Lake Champlain is really the same, thought to be the same creature, really. I haven't seen any evidence that suggests otherwise. Now, whether there is some underwater passage or cave system, it can travel back and forth between the ocean, or has adapted to swim both in freshwater, saltwater, who knows? There have been entire sonic sweeps of like using sonar to sweep the Loch Ness, and nothing concrete has come up. I won't say absolutely nothing has been seen or found, because there has been some shadowy forms, but the water there is very, very murky. It's not at all clear, so it's hard to tell what something actually is if something pings off with the sonar to get an accurate image of it. So it's unknown, but I say, well, it's a possibility. So the let me do this. My page is stuck together. Oh, they did. Look at that. Okay, I was going to say that next bit of information did not go at all along with this. Okay, so Champ has been being cited for at least 400 years now. Indigenous tribes have even older legends of a beast that lives in the lake, and by its description, it's also said to be about 20 feet long with a serpentine body, somewhere snake-like. at times, but other people describe it as looking like Nessie does. It's also reported to have a horse-shaped head. It's thought that they may be, again, related to the plesiosaurs in some way. So again, it's unknown. No definitive remains have been found or otherwise. So, hi, Miss Kim. Mom's been having heart problems, so I've been staying with her. She's slowly getting better. Was in the hospital twice. Sorry to hear that your mom's been having so much trouble, Nancy, and we all, I'm sure, send her love and light. Yeah, going to another dimension. Who knows? It's really hard to say, again, without having any concrete evidence found of exactly what it is, where it goes, how it's adapted, if it has. Again, it's a lot of the pictures. Now, there have been, unfortunately, its fair share of hoaxes throughout the years, where people have later come forward saying, yes, it was a hoax, it was a big joke, I faked it, I created this model or whatever, which has not helped the cause at all, of course, or has made those who do believe in it seem all the more ridiculous for believing in it. It's one bad apple can spoil the bunch mentality. It's that way for anything in life, really. You get somebody who does something negatively, then, it plays out on everything. Yes, Aaron, you're right. Lots of animals are being found that science thought had gone extinct. So that is true. So, and the new species are being discovered all the time. Is Loch Ness only in Scotland, or has it been seen elsewhere? And that the Loch Ness monster, or Nessie, is seen in Loch Ness in Scotland, but there is another one that is in Lake Champlain here in the United States that is very similar, reported to look very similar or serpentine-like body. So it's thought to be either the same thing, like related to the plesiosaur, or something even like what dragons can be reported to look like, with the serpentine type of body that's more snake-like, but similar size and everything else. But they're still really ultimately thought to be related somehow to the plesiosaurs. So next we have the chupacabras. Now, this word gets thrown around a lot. We hear it around a lot on those shows that, has one been found, etc. Now, I will say, after having, worked with, it's a lot of them are written off as being dogs that have the infectious disease of mange, which is these parasitic mites that create havoc in an animal or person's skin. And with an animal, it can cause them to lose their hair, and it does horrible things to their skin. And it's so sad to see it. And there have been, back when I used to work at an animal shelter in my youth, during rescue cases and such, where a bunch of dogs be brought in living in deplorable conditions, there were several who had mange so bad it was just beyond the point of treating, to where it was actually a kindness to them to put them down, so they were no longer suffering. So it is a terrible thing to have. But a lot of the sightings of the chupacabra are thought to be dogs that might have mange. There have been bodies found and brought in to authorities to say, oh, look, I caught one. And in reality, it was some type of a canine related animal that had mange really badly. So there are those that are involved in that. Now, I do have a picture that it's been doctored. This is supposed to be a video of Loch Ness on one paranormal shows, which follows Nessie's following a cruise ship, and people filmed it. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of that out there. Some of them are hoax, some of them can't be explained. So, or they may say, oh, well, it's the wake of a ship or whatever, a boat going by, but there's not any boats in that area at the time. So obviously that's not it. Now, this picture has been photoshopped to kind of make it look more like what a chupacabra is alleged to look like. However, it gives you the idea of it, and it's probably the best one I could find. As far as any photographs go, only one I found was kind of skeptical of as being definitely hoaxy. So it's got, the spines down its hair, down its back, long claws, teeth, etc. Definitely canine looking. So there's that. So they've been reported to suck the blood from livestock, from the way a vampire would. These are confusing to cryptozoologists because of the descriptions of them vary quite considerably from location to location that they are reported in, like what part of the world that they might be reported in. Um, American chupacabras, upon investigation, have been found to be a canine type of breed. Can, like I said, have mange. That really can make it look like a completely different animal. I've seen it. It's, yeah, you would not necessarily know at quick glance that it was definitely the kind of dog it's supposed to be, or it is, because the mange has impacted its skin and caused such massive full body hair loss that you wouldn't know at first glance that, hey, that's this kind of breed. And I thought with all the animal lovers in my show and on who are empaths that I would avoid showing the photos of the bodies that they brought in that have been supposed to be chupacabra, because it's a dead canine of some kind. So I thought I'd spare you guys that. So, oh, Chris saw that video too. Yeah, that kind of looks like a chihuahua, but like I said, it's obviously, and I fully own that picture has been doctored and photoshopped. However, it's kind of the closest that I could get that kind of said that it might be that. So, researchers have found sightings as early as 1974 as far as reports go. And the Tino Indians have also a similar creature in their legends. But Puerto Rican sightings have gotten way more attention, where they had a huge increase in reports for some reason between 1995 and 1999. It's said to have large red or orange glowing eyes, huge fangs, sharp claws, spikes running down their backs, and can stand on two legs. One sighting said that it actually changed color before their eyes, which seems kind of a bit out there, but I didn't interview the person, so I can't say. One theory is that they are a scientific experiment, perhaps gone horribly wrong, and it got away or out of the lab, so to speak. So this is another drawing or artist rendition of what they could possibly look like, to give you an idea. But they are supposed to be able to go on two legs if they choose. So, the chat keeps freezing. Chihuahuas are supposedly a crossbreed of wild dogs and hyenas. You mean chupacabras, Aaron, or chihuahuas? Chihuahuas are very small dogs. Yeah, I thought I would not show that in that. I know that that's hard for a lot of people, and I wasn't going to go there. So now the next one we have are the Ibu Gogos. Now this, it does have archaeological evidence in support of it, but again, it's nothing that's been seen alive per se. So in Flores, Indonesia, sightings have been seen and happening since ancient times and up through the 19th century. The description of them is that they are hairy and short with big feet, walk like a human, and can mimic speech spoken to them. Australians and Indonesians found skeletons of a new species of humans at an archaeological site that were thought to have lived over 10,000 years ago. Now, I do remember when that happened archaeologically and was in the news for that they nicknamed them hobbits because of their height. So I have an image that, let me see, shows kind of what they were thought to look like based on their skeletal remains. Kind of very similar to, let me see if I can make it so it's not so dark here. Hang on, let me lighten this just a little, if we can. Try that, see if it shows up any better. It's brighter. I know it's going to be shadowy, I guess. I'll turn it this way. To me, it reminds me a lot of what early hominids were supposed to look like. But similar to that anyway. You get the idea. Now, of course, there is lore attached to them, of course. let's see. So skeletons were about a meter tall, which is 3 feet, and thought maybe to be the Ibu Goko. Sorry, that's a tongue twister there. The Indonesians used Ibu Gogo as a scare tactic for their children to get them to behave. Ibu Gogo translates into grandmother who eats anything. Folklore says that humans and the Ibu Gogo lived together peacefully, but then they began to destroy crops and the human animals. They fled to caves when humans started hunting and killing them for their safety. Now, the caves usually ended up being set on fire after an Ibu Gogo stole a baby, allegedly. Legend also says that they fled into the Liang Bua caves, which is where archaeologists actually found the skeletons. And again, they were nicknamed the hobbits because of their size of only being 3 feet tall. So interesting. And I did see images of the skeletal remains that were found, and yeah, they're itty bitty. Amanda, hey Amanda, says some conspiracy theories believe the chupacabra is related to aliens because of the amount of UFO sightings. Correct. So, the next one is the spring heel jack. Now, this one's a little different. I gotta say, I've never heard of this one prior to my research. Now, it's been reported in London, England. Yep. But also in New Mexico, Massachusetts, here in the United States, and Argentina from 1837 all the way through present time. So 1837 was the first technical report of it. Now, spring heel jack is thought to be a tall, thin man who wears a tightly fitted black cap and hat, but has large claws and eyes that are said to glow bright red. Now, I have an actual clipping from our newspaper article, published a picture of it. It says Spring-Heeled Jack, the Terror of London, and it was from November 19th and 20th, is all it says on the paper. Price 1 penny, so it would have had to have been from the United States, my guess, based on the currency being a penny. Hey, Stacy. So this was the newspaper artist rendition of it, I guess, based on the descriptions of it. We're going to move it. There you go. So you can see, he showed it looking what people perceived like kind of demonic looking, and popping open a hole in the floor and jumping down in it to escape things. And so there weren't anything other than that really online available of it that I could find for photos or otherwise. Now, it's the man is thought to be like from 1837. There was a report where a man thought to be a police officer. It didn't say for sure, but he was thought to be a cop, who knocked on a woman's door and claimed to have caught Spring-Heeled Jack. So this guy showed up at this woman's door, knock, knock, knock. Hey, let me in, open a door. I caught Spring-Heeled Jack. She came back with a candle, and the guy, quote unquote, was gone. She looked outside and saw a man standing by her gate. After giving the man the candle, he attacked her. She claimed that white and blue flames shot out of his mouth, this is the only report I heard of that happening, but and that he tore her face and clothes. He finally fled after the woman's sister came out after hearing the screams. Now, from 1877, people reported their bullets shooting him while he remained unharmed. And from a report from the 1930s, he was reported as being in Silver City, New Mexico, and Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And in reports from 2005, he can leap one roof to the next up to 5 or more meters, which is about 15 feet, and 10 meters, 30 feet long. Some people even link him to perhaps Jack the Ripper. Seems a stretch to me, but I don't know what he is, but I don't think he's probably Jack the Ripper. Unfortunately, Jack the Ripper, I don't think was a cryptid. I think he was a deranged, disturbed, monstrous human, but not a cryptid. So next we have shadow people. Now, these are reported worldwide since the beginning of recorded history, really. They're usually seen out of the corner of someone's eyes. And I don't know if anyone in my chat has had experiences with seeing shadow people themselves. I have, and I've got a couple stories behind that I can share. One is an explanation. The other is I don't know what it was other than really, really scary. So then once you see them out of the corner of your eye, you look and they seem to have disappeared. Some are seen as semi-transparent dark splotches. Reports say that they appear usually bigger than a normal shadow and don't resemble a normal silhouette. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with me and are new to my show, whatever, or don't know me that well, I am also a gifted psychic medium. Excuse me. And I have had 2 encounters with this myself personally. One was as a child, and this is the one that was absolutely terrifying. We lived in a house out in Nebraska in the United States, and my mother had sent me to run down into our root cellar to get something for her. She was canning and wanted me to put a jar away, whichever it was. She sent me down there anyway. I opened the door, and before I could fully turn on the light, the light from the kitchen was shining down the stairs, and I saw this huge shadowy mass at the bottom of the stairs. Absolutely terrorized me as a kid. I refused to go down the stairs, which didn't go over well with my mom to refuse to do something you got asked to do, but I was too scared. I wasn't doing it. And then as I got older into my teen years, I experienced essentially the same thing in a different house I lived in upstate New York as a teenager, where again, bottom of the cellar stairs. This wasn't a root cellar. However, it was an unfinished basement, kind of similar in nature, but parts of it had been cemented and concreted. Others, like the floor, was still dirt type thing. And I again opened the cellar door to go down and get something, and there was the bottom of the stairs. And again, I refused to go down there. Later in life, I was on a paranormal investigation and encountered one. And after communicating with it, it was really just an entity a human spirit that wanted to be left alone and would assume the form of this shadowy mask to put a good scare into people in order to get you out of its space and to get it to leave you alone. He wouldn't openly communicate with me other than indicate I could tell it was a male by the energy. And we kind of struck up a deal for the rest of the investigation that as long as he didn't mess with the equipment that the rest of my team was using, then I would not call him out if I encountered him again on the investigation. I would kind of just pass his area by if I sensed him there. So that was our arrangement. And he didn't, initially we couldn't get the cameras up and running, and it was just one technical issue after another. And he did indicate he was interfering with it because he didn't want us there. And once I identified, this is just a guy who wants to be left alone, then that's the deal we struck up. And there was not another single technological issue for the rest of the night. So make of that what you wish. But so if I did encounter him, I kept my word, and I would just either keep walking as if I didn't sense him there or see him there, and not let the team know so they didn't all rush in and kind of try to investigate the area, even if it was a small space. We stayed out of his way. So I must have missed that comment there about when I try to comment. Hey guys, when I respond on comments, I do show something Amanda said. It's okay, just letting you guys know it's me responding to you guys. Okay. Now, from my understanding with shadow people, there are 2 different kinds. There is one that I think are just human spirits who are trying to, they're manifesting into our world, our reality, and they perhaps don't have full energy to take on a full form, or that's their preferred form, is to look like a shadow, and they just kind of glide past, or they're seen moving on a wall, whatever. And then there are others that are said to be, evil is a human construct it's a biblical construct. It's fear-based and made to invoke fear in people. Now, there are thought to be interdimensional beings that are shadow people, which do have ill intent towards people. They will often are said to approach children, young children, who are more trusting in nature, kind of play with them and interact with them like they're your friend, and then end up kind of trying to lead you into doing something perhaps rather dangerous in nature or life threatening in nature. Now, obviously, those aren't good, and they make you feel really much more fearful around them than a typical human spirit might. It just puts you on edge, and you just feel like you definitely got to get out of the area. Now, of course, for people who don't have any gifts or whatever, they don't understand it, there's going to be a fear response of the unknown, and you may leave the area anyway out of fear. But these, like, take it to a next level of where it just feels really bad and negative, and you got to get away from them because they can be harmful to people. Max, sipping it, whatever this is called, it has tequila. Okay, Karen, hi. Let's see. My hand was hanging off the bed one night, and a little skeleton-like hand held mine for about 6 seconds. Wow, Sandy. If it's the same thing, I've seen several, but they don't bother me. I would say, Lori, you probably then have seen human spirits. Shadow people seem okay to me. Yeah, so, like, I have an image of one photograph that was taken, and again, they literally just look like a shadow moving on a wall where there really wouldn't normally be a shadow. Sometimes they can take the vague form of a human, but usually it's not. It's more just a fleeting shadow moving past. So there's one example that was a photograph taken during a paranormal investigation somewhere, of one. But yeah, usually you just see them kind of out of the corner of your eye, or they whip past a doorway or over a wall, whatever, where there really isn't one, like a reason for a shadow to be there, basically. So let's see. That's what happened to Amy Allen. They said they made her think they were her friends, and then they tried to kill her. Yeah, and for those who don't know, Amy Allen is a psychic medium. She's a physical psychic medium. I'm not physical. I pick up on the emotional state of things more than I do. I mean, I can communicate openly, but I don't feel the physical pain. I may feel pressure that they may show me, like say that would indicate chest trauma or heart attack. I'll feel pressure on my chest, but it doesn't hurt me. With her, she gets the pain of it. But yes, she has a show, and she describes that having happened to her with what appears to be interdimensional beings that do mean harm. So Sandy Miller says, I had one climb in bed behind me. First, I thought it was my cat. It wasn't. Wow, that must have been freaky. Don't you just love autocorrect sarcasm? Yeah, the drunk autocorrect guy. Karen says she sees them often and calls them creepers. That's a good name. Tanya says, I just divorced hubby number one, very abusive. Alarm going off in the morning, opening my eyes to shadow looking into my face. I screamed. He then turned and jumped out of the window. Found out later my house used to be Seymour. Come on, expand your comment. There we go. House used to be One-Eyed Jack's mortuary. Oh, wow. Yeah. Holy cow. And that says they're probably afraid of you, Karen. Oh, we can't scare this one. Yeah, right? Not much shakes her. My mind was thinking of one another. Yeah, I'm sure we can guess what you mean, Karen. Which one? Well, it held my hand. I just felt extreme sadness and loneliness when it left. Yeah, Sandy, I would say that was the soul being like of a child, perhaps, that was holding your hand for comfort's sake, especially since there was no fear in the experience. So, again, there's a definite difference. I mean, even though I didn't have my gifts fully open as a child when I experienced what I saw, it still had this massive fear in me of that there is no way. And actually, Nebraska is in Tornado Alley in the United States, which is a corridor where tornadoes are more common to happen during tornado season than other parts of the country is. And my mother, during the more extreme mornings, would have our like sleeping bags and pillows next to the door in case we had to get down to quickly. I'm like, I don't care. I'll jump in the tub. I'll take my chances. I'm good. I'm not going down there. Sorry. And she, of course, wouldn't accept that as an answer. But the rest of the time we lived in that house, I refused to ever go down those stairs again, just because what I saw, I didn't understand it, and it did terrify me. So even I think if I had understood potentially what it was, I don't think it would have scared me as much. But the not knowing part, but it just felt wrong and unnatural. So those are my experiences with shadow people. So, and again, they are caught on video oftentimes and on, photographic evidence. So there is evidence that shows them as being valid. Now, I don't know if the more negative ones haven't been caught on film or not. I would guess, on a paranormal investigation, you're not going to know which is which, but I would say probably most of them that are caught on film during paranormal investigations are just human spirits passing by, trying to stay out of your way, get you to leave them alone. Now, the next one is the Beast of Bray Road. Now, this was seen in Wisconsin in the United States since 1936. It's said to be about 6 feet tall, runs on all fours or its hind legs. It's built like a man, but has hairy, long, shaggy hair with a wolf-like face and with yellow eyes that glow in the light. One woman said it's the closest she'd ever came to seeing what she thought was a werewolf. Also has a horrible smell like rotting meat associated with it. So in 1936, the beast was seen digging in an Indian burial site. It was witnessed by a security guard who reported it, and that it said Gadara to it and to him, and then it walked away on 2 legs. Seems unusual that it would, and I didn't find a meaning for that word. They were trying to kind of link it in the research to a place that is called that in Indonesia, I guess, like the Gadarak or something like that. And that, there are stories of it there, but that seemed kind of a stretch to me of what it possibly said. So, a slender one with a hat. I always thought they were just people pretending to be demons. Now, demons are not what people think they are either, Aaron. I missed Stacy's comment. I've seen shadow people several times. I also encountered the hitman in a couple of readings I did for people. I always thought they were just people pretending to be demons. No, they're just soul beings who are trying to get out of the way. I mean, imagine like paranormal investigations and things, strangers showing up at your house, walking in, demanding you to show yourself and act out for them and do tricks for them. And can you do that again? Can you do that again? How about now? How about can you do it again? I don't know about you, but I would tell them where to go and what to do when they got. Someone came into my home doing that. Just saying. So but most of them just either don't respond or they just try to get out of the area that the investigators are in or going into next. They're not typically trying to scare anybody. They're just getting out of the way. So it's just a physical manifestation in our dimension of a soul being. I mean, again, there are those negative ones. I've not ever seen any film footage or photographs of them, but to know what they perhaps look like. But the other ones, they can have a slight human shape, but usually it's just a shadow go on my wall. The slender one with the hat, let's see. Had not hit spell check its best. Yeah. So the Hat Man. Okay. There is a being who is said to be, or he's called the Hat Man. It has been tracked by different people and the sightings recorded on a map and stuff to see is there an area where it's more common in or not. And it's said to be a sinister looking male figure that has like a top hat on or a tall hat of some kind, like stovetop hat perhaps. And it's all very dark and looks scary and creepy. It's been seen like hovering in people's rooms or at the foot of their beds before, doorways, etc. Nobody seems to know what it is, who it is, whatever, but it is a phenomenon that does get reported frequently. So, yeah, I've not personally ever encountered it, but I don't say it doesn't exist just because I haven't ever run into it. Now, the next one, I have done a show in Willows Bend before. It's on the Mothman. So those of you who are in that show, bear with me running through it because there may be somebody listening who's not familiar with it. So the Mothman is a creature sighted in Point Pleasant, Virginia, in the United States since 1966. And I do have like the most frequently seen artist renditioning of it. Let me show you that real quick. There you go. So that's the most commonly drawn version of it that people reported based on people's description of it. Now, it's supposed to be a gray creature with wings and large glowing red eyes located in what would be the upper chest area. So it doesn't seem to have much of a head, but it does have, again, it's the eyes would be where the upper chest would be. And it's said to be about 6 feet tall and wider than a man. The first report was made. I'm sure my chat freeze again. It keeps freezing on me on my phone, probably because Wi-Fi is not great. Dad was just looking to see if I was ready and ran when I found when I wasn't. Well, I'm glad that you got that message that you weren't yet ready, Tanya. Talking about the entity they used as a character in Poltergeist. Which one, Karen? Yes, Hatman is supposed to be an upper level demon, supposedly. That's exactly what he looks like. Yeah. Yeah, and our Sandy in our chat had an experience with the Mothman herself because she lives in that area when she was younger. Or was it you or your mother or sister? It was somebody in your family, I think, wasn't it, who had an experience seeing it where it followed the car? Now, it was first reported by 5 guys who worked at a cemetery, and as they were readying a burial site, they claimed to have seen it fly overhead. In another report, they were chased in their car by it whilst driving approximately 100 miles an hour. It managed to keep up for a while before veering off. It's your mom who saw it. Okay, so I was like, no, it wasn't her. Nancy said that Poltergeist character was creepy. It was supposed to be. Yes, Mothman is either gray or black in color, a huge giant bat. He was in all the Oh, yeah, that creepy old man. Yeah, he was a definite creeper in a movie. So it chased their car, driving about 100 miles an hour. It managed to keep up for a while before veering off to the side. They said it doesn't flap its wings when it flies. Others report their car dying momentarily when they first see it. It was also seen the day that there was a huge mishap with the bridge in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to where the main bridge over top of the Ohio River collapsed. There was a faulty bolt or something on the bridge that failed, and the bridge collapsed. And it was December 15th, 1967, and 46 people lost their lives as a result of the bridge collapsing into the river because of the frigid temperatures of the water, etc., and a fall in their cars. Didn't help anything either, I'm sure. But it was said the Mothman got seen right prior to this accident happening with the bridge. Now, there is a monument. They really kind of capitalized on it a bit in Point Pleasant, to where they created the Mothman Museum. They created a life-size silver statue, which looks nothing like the picture I just showed, which that's why I didn't screenshot it, because I've not read a single report that describes it looking like what the statue looks like. The statue's kind of hokey looking. And it's a big festival they have every year, the Mothman Festival, celebrating it. There were also bunkers that were out in that area on the outskirts of town, where it was often seen out in that way. And people would, it's where they used to store dynamite back during the war. And they were now emptied of the dynamite. But people, young people and stuff would go parking out there to make out and whatever. And that's where a lot of the sightings had seen it coming and going from that area. And then it just suddenly disappeared and has not been seen in there since. So it is completely unknown. I personally think it was a multidimensional being perhaps that came through. Whether it was to warn of the bridge collapse or something else, I don't know. But I think because it hasn't been seen again and kind of popped into our dimension, got seen, and then left again. Now, this next one is really interesting. I'd never heard of these before either. They're called atmospheric beasts. Now, they are reported to have semi-solid bodies and often are invisible to the naked eye. Let's see. Sandy said he didn't flap his wings. He just stood up and soared off. Yeah, it said nobody ever saw him flap his wings. Yep, the TNT bunkers. Where the Mothman is from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in the United States, Lori. But he hasn't been seen since then there. But again, they have a big festival every year for it, like celebrating him, and because they really count on tourist dollars to keep the town afloat. Because if they didn't have that, it's one of those dead end towns that probably would have run dry in population long before now if it didn't have that money coming in from tourists and stuff. But so I don't begrudge them that. I get it. I mean, my area is very touristy as well, so I understand the thinking behind it, but it does bring a lot of business into the local businesses every year, so I can't begrudge them that. But yeah, they really capitalize on it totally. So these atmospheric beasts are reported to have semi-solid bodies and often are invisible to the naked eye. Now, they're said to be able to fly but don't have any wings. Some claim that they live in the clouds and have often been mistaken as UFOs. Now, some of them seem to resemble sea creatures that are seen sometimes, like, those kinds of seahorses where they look more like a pale piece of seaweed floating around and the way they move and stuff, but they're still really a seahorse. A lot of them have actually resembled that. I think the Mothman, most interdimensional beings, I don't see them as good or bad because, what is bad? Bad is a label we give things that is usually fear-based. Are there negative beings out there that mean humans harm? Sure. But do I think he means harm? No. All of the interactions and all of the sightings, he didn't hurt anybody. He didn't attack anyone. He was just seen I guess I would call it curiosity, checking out someone's car and what a car is, and then appearing, the day the bridge collapsed. So I don't think it's necessarily something bad because he didn't do anything dangerous or bad to anyone. So I think it's just, an interdimensional is, you also have to think in terms as far as interdimensionals go, that what they do in their dimension is normal to them as every bit as much as what we do in our lives by the laws of physics and the laws of our society. But if we were to go to, say, a foreign country and behave that way there, we could offend everybody in a 5-mile radius by how we act and behave and conduct ourselves because the same laws and rules don't apply there. So it's like that for them. So, the church has trumped up evil and demons and all this stuff to have fear-based control of people, but it's not how the state of reality for things, if that makes sense. And you're going to have your own opinions, of course, and I'm not here to bash church in any way or Christianity or anyone who has Christianity as their foundation. You all, at least in my group, know me better than that. I just know from my own research that's really the start of that. So these atmospheric beasts seem to resemble, I do have some photographs, creatures like sea animals versus land animals. They don't really look like anything that we've seen move around on land. They literally live in the atmosphere of the earth. And for the most part, they seem oblivious to us, like us humans being here. They just kind of do their own thing, and it's not even known whether they're a sentient being or not. Most people are saying they think he was there to warn people about the bridge collapse. Karen, you're funny. You're saying nothing's bad happened yet. So let's see. Let me find the pictures of these atmospheric. Okay, so here's some of them. And these are interesting, and hopefully it's going to show up to you guys. So let me get it framed here. There we go. Now, if you look really closely, they're kind of on these here on the bottom, look like there's wing apertures on them. And they're seen just moving through the sky and kind of undulating, whatever. And thank you for watching, Shannon. I appreciate that. She is in partnership with Soma Fusion now for iEvolve. And so you can read all about that on the Soma Fusion page. But yeah, so these are, it's really unknown exactly what they are because no one has ever caught one to, examine it up close or what have you. Here's some more that have been captured on film. Again, most people don't necessarily even notice them when looking at the sky, but if they're taking pictures of something in the sky, then they may be seen and identified. Now, some of these, I didn't crop it, and I should have probably, but there were some that were just lightning pictures. But others do definitely take on weird shapes, and there's a couple of them. I'll tell you, I'll point to them and say, don't look at those. Those aren't these. They just included it in there for under the search. I forgot to edit it, I guess. So my apologies. So these here, don't pay attention to those. Those are like canisters that you can smoke canisters. So these are the ones that are really having to do with that. So obviously you see lightning happening. It doesn't tend to do that at all. And let me see, which one is it? So there is, it's hard. I couldn't see it even when I blew the picture up, but somebody circled something up in the sky where they saw it originally. And I want to say, so let me see. Here's the circled picture, but I think that what they had seen was more like one of the swigglies in the sky in that photograph, but upon enlarging it, there wasn't much detail to it. So here's some other ones that were photographed, obviously in the sky. Some people report that they call them flying jellyfish or sky jellyfish because they do kind of have the shape of jellyfish moving through the sky. It's interesting. So let me see if I can get these here. So this obviously is an actual jellyfish picture there, but the other three pictures are things people photographed of these things. But again, it's unknown if they're sentient being and have intelligence and awareness, or are just kind of, doing their own thing in the atmosphere, operating more on a survival thing or whatnot. Here's another one. I just thought they're really interesting, and there were some different good shots that I wanted to show. That actually looks like there might be like a UFO up in the middle of it, but the anomaly of the cloud thing around it is interesting. And obviously not an atypical cloud. So nobody knows what they are. And I certainly had never heard of them before, researching this. Let's see. Nancy said that she thought that Mothman was a warning of impending doom. Yes, Sandy, rods are part of these things that are called the atmospheric beasts or the sky jellyfish. That rods do fall into that category, correct? Aaron says, Mothman is supposedly a watcher summoned by Native Americans to protect the land. That is one thought. Keep having to log back in after replying to comments. That happens to me a lot as well, Lori, if that's any consolation. I experience that a lot. I think it's maybe a device thing. Sandy says she's never seen anything like those in the clouds. No, neither have I. And I think, Karen's saying she thinks they're interdimensional. I think they could be as well, because, again, it's a phenomenon that nothing is known about them because no one has ever been able to get close enough to them to get a really close-up view of them. So they're seeing it up in the sky. Now, there was one report made, which we'll get to in a second, that talks about a slightly closer interaction, but not direct still. So they are thought to be living organisms that live in the atmosphere unaware of humans, like energetic life forms, even observed by astronauts have seen these things as well. They have been being observed for centuries and are also known as air whales, air kraken, or floating jellyfish. They're said to dip in and out of the clouds and are not visible by means of any air. There's no visible sign of aerodynamic propulsion. Like, how do they move? There's no signs of anything to their bodies that would indicate how they move. Now, that one picture I did show, it did look like there could have been wings on it, or wing shapes to it, but it's unknown how they move through the sky or the atmosphere. Hi, Brenda. There are so many creatures out there that are undocumented. Absolutely. And that's where I think that, cryptids can be real, because just because it's never been caught and labeled and scientifically explored doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If, science hasn't breached a lot of veils yet, whether it's the other side or these interdimensional realities, they are saying, yes, interdimensional or there are multiple dimensions of possible out there, but they don't know anything about them. So science is still playing catch up. So I don't, unless they can show me empirically something doesn't exist, I say, well, why can't it? Had problems too the other day, Marianne. Yeah. Let's see. Karen says, sightings of things that science hasn't discovered chalk up to interdimensional automatically. Yeah. I have pictures of a triangle cloud. It was weird looking. Well, it could have been UFO, Stacy. Yes, definitely send me the pictures later. That'd be cool to see. Thank you. Yeah, I always have issues like that with people who, if I'm watching a Zoom show myself and I go to comment and reply, even though I'm a member for Soma Fusion, I go into one of my fellow Soma Fusion members' sites who's having a show, not a site, a show. If I go into one of their shows to say, hey, I still have that happen on my devices too, where I have to come back in each time and reopen it. I don't know why it happens. If it's just a Facebook thing or what it is. But yeah, after a while, it makes you not want to comment and you get kind of tired of coming in and out. Okay, so they can range in size, these atmospheric beasts. I'm not crazy about the word beasts, atmospheric beings. How's that? I prefer that. There we go. I renamed them. They can range in size from huge enough to be mistaken for a UFO, or only to small enough to be only caught on camera when viewed frame by frame. So they're that easy to miss. So unless you are going back reviewing each picture as an individual picture and blowing it up, a lot of these gets missed as things. Now, the rod ones that Sandy mentioned, or asked about, those are actually, science says that they're just things in the atmosphere that, moisture and things moving around. I think that's never really made sense to me. And even, I don't know if any of you guys have experienced it, but I can, and always have since I was a kid, where sometimes if you kind of let your eyes go soft focus and you're outside, you will see little things moving around you in the air. Now, could that be some of the science's explanation for it? I'm not saying it can't, but it always seemed like something else besides that, because they range in different shapes and sizes too, or squiggles or whatever. So I see those. So they've been being observed for centuries. And again, nobody seems to know really what they are, if they're sentient beings or not. They've even been suggested that they may be responsible for unexplained animal mutilations, which seems like a stretch to me. It's currently unknown if they even need sustenance. There's a story from the Indianapolis Journal, published September 5th, 1891, that says, at about 2 a.m., two men were fixing a wagon when they looked up and saw a, quote, horrible apparition above them. They asserted that it was a multi-finned, rectangular, headless creature that, quote, swam no less than 100 feet over them. They guessed its size to be 8 feet wide and about 20 feet long. They said that it was definitely animated, and they watched in horror as it propelled itself through the heavens and even circled a nearby home. Now, that story was given validation in that it was also observed by a Reverend G.W. Switzer and his wife, who was a local Methodist church pastor, which, again, when you have people who are more in the professional line of work, who are higher educated and more trained, they're given over to be seen as being more valid in their reports of things, because you're trained at that point for just the facts and honing in on just the details of what you see. So somebody who is more in a professional line of work, like a police officer, a minister, whatever, a teacher, says something that they've seen and experienced, then it's given a little bit more weight than just perhaps a backwards, undereducated person who, has a second grade education, and they don't, they're just seen as less valid by our society, I guess. Let's see. Karen says, my neighbors are having a prayer session out front as I'm drinking a whatever this is, and cannabis. Life is weird. Life is weird. Classic cow mutilations from the 90s. Yeah, it's totally unknown what cow mutilations, why they happen or what causes them. I don't think it's these things. I mean, if they are of the atmosphere, they're not going to have the shape and form to subdue an animal that weighs over a ton and, lay it down and take out parts of its body and stuff. I don't see it happening. So it doesn't seem like it's really that. I don't know what these are, but I think they're harmless, and I think that it seems valid that they are unaware of us or don't care that we're here, regardless, knowing that, what are we going to do down here when they're up there? And perhaps they are just interdimensional or energetic life forms. But I do think they're alive, and anything alive is said to be a sentient being, even if its intellect is different than ours. It doesn't mean it's any less valid. My chat keeps freezing. Oh my goodness. The area I live in is all Native American land. Cool, Lori. Technically, all this is Native American land. That is true, Karen. Okay, so have been reported in many different shapes, from the fan squid-like forms to the aforementioned example of floating jellyfish. There were some images, I don't know what to think of them online, it seems quite doctored to me, but where they almost take on a monstrous looking shape of like a giant being that's made up of a cloud form but is moving in the sky. I don't think that's what those are. I think these are something completely different. If those other things are something valid, I would say it has to be maybe catching a glimpse into another dimension of something there that's showing up here in our realm. I don't know what those are, or if they're valid things or not even, but these seem valid. Whatever they are, they seem valid to me. Oh, say it like you want, Lori. I won't get offended. So next one we actually had it on the table as a topic to vote on, but I think because I'm kind of touching on it in here, I can say that there really isn't that much there to create a whole show out of it. And it is the goat man that is seen in Maryland in the United States. And so this has been since the 1970s. Reports have come in about seeing what's been dubbed the goat man. It has the lower body of a goat and the upper body of a man with the horns of a goat, and is about 7 feet tall and weighs approximately 300 pounds. Now, one woman claimed to see it in her backyard after her dog had been barking wildly. She waited until morning to go out to investigate because she was scared, and when she did, she found that her dog had been decapitated. So what that is, I'm not sure, but regardless. Now, out of every picture that I saw of alleged goat man images, now I think this one is probably, photoshopped. However, all the rest of them were even hokier, so we didn't go there. But this is the one that was most prevalently seen, so I'm going to give it to you. Let's see. There you go. And there are other, it seems to be a lot of reports have come out of the state of Maryland, and that there are goat man bridges, they're called, where this thing has apparently been seen before or experienced in some way. So Yep. Yep. Exactly, Aaron. I knew you would know what I was talking about where. Um, Now, again, it has been reported in like Frederick County, Maryland. I used to live down in that area myself many, many, many moons ago, but I can say I never encountered the goat man. Now, the next one is called Pongo, and this legend originated in Africa and is kind of a mixture between a man and a monkey. He allegedly likes the taste of human flesh and they were shapeshifters being able to manipulate into or morph into a beautiful woman. Of course, they're going to be a woman to do terrible deeds to lure unsuspecting victims. And in 1847, Pongo was discovered to exist as being the gorilla. Yes, Pongo was said that it was identified once they found saw a gorilla and identified a gorilla for being a gorilla. People who previously had always called them Pongo, it said, yes, that's it, and it's gorilla. So obviously it kind of can show that even things that have all this mysterious lore and legends attached to it, it just may be a species we haven't encountered to label yet. So autocorrect us, absolutely. Yep, the drunk little guy on our devices. Goatman Brunch Bridges here in Oklahoma. Yeah, there's several actually around the United States, Renee. I've heard of several and seen different paranormal investigations in different places that call them Goatman Bridge. Okay, Karen, we'll be here. Didn't Ghost Adventures do the Goatman Bridge? Yes. Yes, Goatman Bridge is famous here in Maryland. They do a festival every fall here. Yeah, there's also another one that we're going to get to. There is a whole festival for it. I was kind of surprised after reading the description of it that they have a whole festival around it too. But again, it's an excuse for people to party, blow off steam, as well as draw in tourist money into the area for businesses that probably wouldn't necessarily be able to stay afloat otherwise. So can't begrudge them that. So now we're going to move on to some other cryptids that are unusual in nature. This one I also have never heard of. It's called the Snallygaster. Now, this originated in German lore, hence the unusual name of it, the Snallygaster. I kid you not. Let's see. Yeah, there's been a few people who've done the Goatman Bridge, and yeah, Ghost Adventures is a hokey Hollywoodized show, to be sure. It's given people a lot of wrong information and misunderstandings of what spirit world is, and demons are everywhere according to them. Yeah, never mind. Don't get me started on that topic. So, the Snallygaster is said to inhabit a dragon. It's supposed to be a dragon-like beast that inhabits central Maryland in the Middletown area of Frederick County, Maryland. It's described as being half reptile, half bird, with a metallic-like beak lined with razor-sharp teeth, and occasionally has octopus-like tentacles. Sounds like quite a beastie, right? And allegedly, it swoops silently down from the sky to pick up and carry off its victims. Now, this is the one I just mentioned that has the festival associated with it as well. Now, this is the only image I found that seemed even reasonably valid. It was a newspaper photograph. It says, seen an incident of Snallygaster's reign. Doesn't say when the paper was from. It's an old picture, obviously, but I couldn't find anything of when or who published it. But I will show it to you nonetheless here. It's more a dragon there. And it looks like it might be carrying a cow or something that's hanging down off its arm, or the tentacle it might have. but it's a big celebration. Everybody, they had like beer mugs and signs labeled with the Snallygaster Festival and things. So it's a big deal there, apparently. It's kind of like the what is it? St. Patrick's Day. Everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Let's see. Deb says demons is a catch-all label for many beings, spirits, virus, etc. Correct, Deb. Absolutely correct. Yeah, Zach says he's possessed in every episode. Yep. King spirit, a different kind of spirits, Karen. Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. Like the basic form of demon that people picture and think about is what the church created as a method of control over people's behavior and having a consequence or fear of behaving how they thought you should behave according to standards at the time. And if you didn't, then those are consequences, and you can get possessed and all this stuff. And I'm not saying you can't get jumped by a spirit. Of course you can. I don't negate that at all. But possession by an actual demon is a very unusually rare thing. So throw that one out there. So here's Sandy's favorite, the Pukwudgie. Now this is looks like from a page from a book, but it was the best drawing I could find of it. Now it has just like a description of it listed next to it is what the writing says next to it, but that is a Pukwudgie. Okay. It's fun to say though, isn't it? Let's see here. I don't know why my comments keep freezing and I keep having to go through it. He always sends someone else in because he's scared. Absolutely, Brenda. Right, I know. Give him a little hug. So a Pukwudgie is from the folklore of the Wampanoag Indians, and they are said to look similar to humans, but not, and is more of a troll-like creature standing 2 to 3 feet tall. Their ears, fingers, and noses are of greater length than the humans are. Lore says that they can appear and disappear at will, transform into half a human, half a porcupine, and create fire with magic. One has to leave them alone or it'll play endless tricks on you. So it's one of those trickster beings. More recent reports have been in the Freedom Fall River State Forest in Massachusetts, including the Watupa Reservation. People have blamed Pukwudgies for several suicides that have happened there recently. People apparently jumping off a cliff to commit suicide. They've said it was Pukwudgies that pushed them off the cliff. Seems kind of extreme, and people not wanting to accept someone's death by suicide, but like Danny DeVito, yeah, they do, right? So those are the Pukwudgies. Now, there's another one I came across that has a hilarious name, but it really is just something else that the goat man is called somewhere else, and it is the Pope Lick Monster. I kid you not, the Pope Lick Monster. I can't help but giggle when I hear that. So that happens in Norfolk, Virginia, allegedly, but it is just the goat man. I started to do the write-up on it, but then I realized it when it said it's just like the goat man. I was like, well, it is a goat man. So when they started describing it, yes, they were describing the goat man, which we already covered. So, but I just had to tell you about the Pope Lick Monster. Apparently, there's a creek there that is named Pope Lick Creek. It makes you wonder how that one got named. Leaving that one alone. Just saying. No disrespect to anybody who's Catholic. Just saying, like it's a really funny name. It's supposed to be one at the Hinsdale House in the woods. There are a lot of things in the Hinsdale House out in the woods. Hinsdale House is about 3.5 hours, give or take, from me here where I'm at in upstate New York. Paranormal State had an episode of Pukwudgies. Interesting. The next one are the Glowacus. These are of Glastonbury, Connecticut, made headlines during the winter of 1939. They are described as a mixture of a dog, a cat, and a bear, and has blood-curdling screams. Now, some people today wonder if they, in all reality, weren't dealing with a lynx or a mountain lion. Some dogs were found having been mutilated or disappeared, and sightings were reported all over the Northeast until after World War II, and then they abruptly stopped. And there was a mountain lion that apparently had escaped from some zoo that was in that area at the time, and it was thought that might be actually what was accounting for that back then. It was unknown because nobody ever saw it or caught it. And when mountain lions screech and carry on, it can be kind of frightening sounding. So I could see it being coming up with a backstory for it rather than assigning what it actually is. So I think that is a possibility. Yes, I do live about 3.5 hours from the Hinsdale house. I actually helped out on an investigation there recently regarding a gentleman named Sean Gilmore, who's a friend of mine, and he was doing an investigation there, and we're trying to communicate. So I kind of jumped in saying, "Do you mind if I tell you what I'm hearing and seeing?" And they wanted me to, so I did help out to open up dialogue with one of the beings that lives there, and he was actually quite friendly as long as you showed him respect. But yeah, very interesting. Um, but yeah, I always wanted to go there as well. I had a chance once, and it was I couldn't come up with somebody to watch Jake for the weekend in order for me to go, but I had somebody had a spot open up on their team that was unexpected. They were going to be camping out for the weekend on the property, and I would have loved to have gone, but yeah, I couldn't find somebody to dog sit for me. So it was yeah, there's a lot of interesting things there. Hi, Shannon. I am from Alpena, Michigan. There's a legend about the Dogman. I'm not really sure what the legend is, except people claim to see it. Well, Dogman is related or falls into the family of werewolves. We kind of covered it once regarding all of the different creatures that are related to werewolves. And so, yeah, Dogman has been seen and I think is a valid thing, and people have happened upon them standing next to fences or whatever while they've been walking by a creek or what have you, and just were kind of like, oh, okay. It wasn't aggressive towards them or anything, but they just kind of turned and got out of the area quickly out of being afraid of what it could do. But yeah, it is, the Dogman is said to be related to a werewolf. The video keeps freezing on my end, so I may not be too long. Sorry, Deb. A dog, a cat, and a bear, Lori, was what that thing was supposed to be a mixture of. Oh, wow. How did I miss it? I haven't seen it one in a while. Sandy, I think I saw you commenting on that investigation after it ended. I'm pretty sure I saw your comment in there. They do like paranormal podcast or something it's called that Sean leads. And yeah, so I think that you were commenting on the investigation after it ended. Pretty sure. It was like a week or two ago. So now this next one I put in here because there are many, many different versions of it that I thought were interesting and important to kind of differentiate. It is Sasquatch. Now, Sasquatch is said to appear looking like many different things and also thought to be different things to a degree. Renee said, yeah, if I had a pet sitter, I would have been in Waverly Hills now. Wow. Freezing on my end, it's your internet. It could be your, device related, perhaps, Mary. So, Sasquatch and his various cousins, I call a section. Now, Sasquatch has been sighted all over mountains and woodlands of North America and Canada forever. Legends originate with indigenous people and continued onward from there. There have been reports of Sasquatch like cryptids that have subtle differences between them, like I said. So the first is the Ohio grassman. Now, these seem to be more social and seen in groups of 4 to 5 rather than independently and alone. And I've also, while doing the research last night, this morning, I saw a lot of new interesting. Oh, I do have an image of that. Sorry. So this is the Glastonbury Gullwackus. It's a drawing of it anyway. I forgot I had that. My apologies. So that's the being we covered just a minute ago. That's supposed to be a dog, cat, and bear combination. Now, so they separate them out into types of Bigfoot, and I think that they evolve differently depending on the area that they're from, what resources were available to them, perhaps. Some even think that they perhaps are either interdimensional beings or that they are somehow early developing humans happen to survive somehow in small groups and pockets around the world, really. There are different ones that are seen everywhere in different areas, not just the United States and Canada, but that's where most reports come out of. Cat dog, yeah. My daughter used to watch that. Yep, Sasquatch is very intriguing. Looks like a defective lion. It does, yeah. That's why I forgot I had it, I think, because it was kind of funny. So the Ohio grassman, again, these seem to be more social and are seen more in smaller groups and often seen in cornfields and also look a bit different too. And I do have pictures. Some of them are from like real footage, but most of them are like digital renderings of what, using. I get it, Jake. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead, I gotcha. Go ahead, I'm holding it for you. Honey, it's okay. I'm trying to get it straight for you so you can turn around and get settled here. Goodness gracious. Never mind, it's a lost cause. Well, as long as part of your feet are on it, I can't get it out from under you. Sorry, guys. Some in Alaska, too, yeah. I've not heard about the grassman, huh? No, I hadn't either. Some of these I hadn't heard of before, Deb. And so the grassman in Ohio is said to have a pointed head, a snub nose, and a deep set eyes. Now, are they assigned red eyes because they're perhaps flashing off a camera lens, maybe, or the light if they were spotted at night, perhaps, I think more than likely, versus actually having red eyes, So there's 10 different variations in types of Sasquatch across North America. Some of them, again, cross lines into other countries, but for the most part, these are the ones that are spotted in our neck of the woods of the United States, Canada area. Now, the first one it's called the type 1, a patty type. It looks like a cross between a human and a mountain gorilla, which is type 1. Now, this rendering of it was created using the famous Patterson footage that was shot during the late 60s, early 70s, that is found to be the most valid footage out there surviving of a Sasquatch moving through an area, caught unaware. It's not been able to be, dismissed and discredited. Lots of, I don't even know how many photography specialists have looked at the footage and said, I can't find where it's been doctored or messed with at all. You just call your weed dealer the grassman. Yep, Jacob Baker. Okay, so here's what an artist like digital rendition is based off of, like what the Bigfoot that was spotted in the Patterson footage, what its face is would look like face on, straight on of it, based on it turning its head sideways, because it was walking by sideways and turned and looked at them. So it gives both images. So that on the bottom is the footage. Okay, turn you back on. Sorry. This bottom one is from the original Patterson footage See if I can angle it just right so it shows up. There we go. And then the top is what an artist thought it would look like if seen face on, like facing forward rather than kind of turning in profile. So that is considered a type 1 type of Sasquatch. A type 2 Sasquatch seems more ape-like and reported most often in the South. Oh. Keep having to slide my chat back and forth in order to get it. Yetis said to be interdimensional by several channels. Yeah, I think they are as well. I think overall they are more interdimensional beings because there's been so many stories of someone tracking them and tracking their footprints even in snow, and the footprints suddenly stop in an open field and just disappear. There are no other footprints leading off to indicate where they went. They just stop and disappear. Where could they have gone? Well, it's quite unknown. And they're big. It's not like they can just easily disappear into. Now they're excellent hiders, I'm sure, in woodlands and their native atmosphere of the wooded areas. They can hide quite well amongst trees and so forth. But just stopping and disappearing altogether in the middle of an open field, yeah, that's a bit more sketchy. So this is the type 2 that seems more ape-like, and it's often reported in the South. So this is one person's drawing of one. There we go. And here's another one that is, again, it's one is of the bottom. Both are digital images, but it's kind of thought to be what it would look like, close up in the face, facial features. And you can see where it does look more like a pissed off monkey. It's not happy either way. And again, they're more often seen in the South. So it's 2021 today. I go to the store. Things have changed. Oh, to get your supply. Gotcha. Yes. Yeah, the Patterson footage was supposedly a female. Marianne, I'm not sure what your question mark is for. You've seen the meme of the. Yes, I have seen that Bigfoot video playing a saxophone with a guy obviously in that costume. Sasquatch was on a Bionic Woman too. Yes, I remember that from being a kid in that. Absolutely. Okay, so here is one more of the type 2. It's a drawing of what's been reported on any way of them. The really long arms, much more ape-like, and its facial features more apish. Let's see. Pictures, the next 4, 5, and 6 are the type 3. It's like a mandrill / human mix. It's much more primal looking and, temperamental, if you will. So the top one is a drawing. The bottom one is more of like a digitized photo. Someone made it. There we go. Get close up to the bottom one for you. And here's one of the one that looks more like a mandrill type of monkey. Has kind of or baboon-ish like face. And again, these are not actual pictures of them, of course, just as a disclaimer. So pictures 7, 8, 9, and 10 is type 4, often seen in the northeast, and they're more human looking. So this is one person's, looks almost like a colored pencil or watercolor drawing of a type 4. There's that one. And those. They have the heavy brow ridge that is reminiscent more of like a Neanderthal type of beings as they were portrayed to be from the skull. Here's another one of a type 4 type. There. Okay. Others that are reported from different areas, because they are, again, they're reported worldwide. So looks like one of your brothers almost looks like a gorilla. Yep. I like carrying the Hendersons. Yep. I think UFOs drop them off and pick them up back up. Possibly. I mean, again, that would be kind of interdimensional. Kick him out when he gets unruly. Netflix has a really cute cartoon about a Bigfoot family the kids love. Huh. I'll have to see what that looks like. So other types of Sasquatch that get reported from different areas, really, again, it's a global thing. In different areas, they can be different heights, different colorations. They're always much larger than an average human male is or female, upwards to 10 feet tall, 6, 7, 8, 9 feet tall. They're thought to weigh massive amounts and enough to where they can pretty well go silently through the woods. A lot of recordings have been made that can't be explained away as being thought to be the calls of them or communications from them. There have even been incidences where one got spied in a distance, like at a campsite, and rocks being thrown at the people, but not injuriously, but kind of as a warning, like, hey, get out of my space, which I get that. Like, again, these things just want to be left alone. Hey, Stacia. So, sometimes a tree limb being knocked against another tree isn't like they call it knocking, is often also heard. And there's a mad ton of these recordings out there that you can just look up Sasquatch sounds made or recordings. And there's a ton of them out there on YouTube. And, use your own discretion on whether the footage that may be shown looks doctored and faked or seems real. But I did see several today that I was kind of like, well, yeah, there could be something to that one. The people did not at all seem even half the time aware it was there in the background of the footage until watching much later was like, hey, what was that? That seems more valid of a reaction than, oh, look, crikey, what we got here is a Sasquatch up in the woods and it's hiding and, oh, let me go give it a kiss. No, those are something else. So, again, they just want to be left alone. I get wanting to understand them better and know what they are, but can you even imagine if science or the military got a hold of one of these beings, what it would, if they haven't already, what they would do to it? I mean, it would be captivity and dissection, vivisection. Yeah, horrible. Leave them alone and let them be. I can totally see studying them at a distance in their natural environment without interference, but yeah, trying to catch one alive or killing it just so it can be, get reward money and sold off to science or the military. Yeah, no, totally against that. So different ones reported from different areas. The first one is, wood knocks. Yes, they do want to live in their own peace. Yep, Facebook's messing with me bad today. I'm sorry, Sandy. Yeah, like I said, Brenda, they have been heard or said to throw rocks, not injuriously, but as kind of a warning of, hey, you're in our space. And a lot of times it's been like on cabin roofs or tops of tents, whatever, but there's never been any validation of any signs that they've attacked a human being. They just try to get away. All right, so the first one is the Gnosqua, or Genosqua. I'm not sure how it's said. I didn't find a valid pronunciation of it, but they're often mentioned in folklore of Native Americans as the Rock Man. And I do have a picture of that that's kind of scary looking. It's a digital photograph of it, but or image. There we go. It's been created. That just looks sinister, doesn't it? That was the only best one I could find of that look like anything. Now this next one is the skunk ape, which are commonly seen in or talked about from both indigenous peoples' folklore from the Everglades in Florida. There's a certain area of Florida and that's also something that can make it seem more valid footage is if something like this is seen in a swamp area. Obviously, a person in a suit is not going to be dumb enough to go and wade through the water and stuff, or stand a chance against crocodiles or gators and other little nasties that exist in the swamp, and stand any chance of surviving that. But because of their sheer size, they could be. Um, yeah, they're not really big rocks. No, they're just, like little stones. They've shown lights in the sky when then seeing a Bigfoot. In some cases, yes. Yeah, he does look like he would eat you, doesn't he? It looks just sinister in nature. But that was the only image I could find on it. But so it's called the Rock Man, and the skunk ape calls Everglades in Florida home. Um, in foot tracks, they have 4 toes, not 5, and they're often reddish to black in color. And it's guessed that 7 to 9, a population of about 7 to 9 of them live in Florida. And this is said to be more what they look like, except like this one's kind of, let's see if we can get it, has reddish hair, and others are said to be black. Oftentimes they get mistaken as being a bear when someone first sees them, and then it stands up or whatever and reacts. So, oh, here's one that's a drawing of the Ganasqua, and it's reported as Bigfoot's larger, more bulkier cousin with rock-hard skin, and allegedly they twist the heads off their victims until they are decapitated. So that's it. Where the other one was a digital picture, this is a drawing of one. So, others that are get reported from around the world are the Amas near Mongolia, to the Orang Pandak, reported from the island of Sumatra and Indonesia. Let's see what I got for pictures. Oh, here's another drawing of what the skunk ape is said to look like. Closer for you there. And here's what their faces could look like on the skunk ape. They are called that because they are ape-like looking and they smell horrible like a skunk. I mean, all Bigfoot are reported that people notice a horrible smell coming off of them that is very pungent and just nasty smelling. Who's going to bed? I don't know who you're saying goodnight to, Aaron. Missed that one, I guess. The abominable snowman from Rudolph the Reindeer. The Bumbles. Yep, Bumbles. That's what I always jokingly call myself, is Bumbles Bounce. Hi, Gina. Yeah, I used to fall down a lot and have a horrible balance, so I would always jokingly call myself a Bumble. Okay, so in this writing, it's another drawing of the skunk ape. He's actually carrying what looks to be the body of a alligator, crocodile, whatever. Skunk ape is large, hairy, bipedal mammal that calls the Everglades home. Casting their tracks confirm that they have 4 toes, and the males stand up to 7 feet tall and can weigh more than 350 pounds. Females are considered smaller, standing 5 to 6 feet and weighing about 180 to 250 pounds. Both males and females are covered in reddish black fur. So this is just like a pencil or charcoal type of drawing. There we go. He's carrying like a gator under his arm. And that's what I said, like, the ones that have been filmed in like a swamp setting, no person in their right mind would go traipsing into that kind of an area in a suit in the water with all of them wild things swimming around. You think of Harry taking a bath in the neighbor's pool, but no one saw me, so I found a way in here. Cool. Well, welcome, Gina. Let's see here. Oh, this one's interesting. So there's also been found to be, like I said, the Orang Pandak, which is very slim in profile, like body wise, and it has like clown orange hair on it. And they've been seen in Sumatra and Indonesia. In the Himalayan mountains of Tibet and Nepal, they have yetis, which you guys mentioned in chat. Some researchers feel that they are failed offshoots of very early humans, and excuse me, most feel like they could be interdimensional. But wait, there's more. There's also the big muddy monster that has been seen. I think it's kind of hokey of a description, but yes, they like a skunk. It's just the name skunk ape. Yeah, they're said to smell like a skunk. Like just, I mean, most Sasquatch are said to smell bad. Obviously, they don't have any access to shampoo, showers, and body wash. So, you know. So the big muddy monster. The first sighting was June 25th, 1973 in Murfreesboro, Illinois. And there was a couple who was parked in a car down by a dock there, and they heard a loud scream. And whilst they were parked by like a riverside boat dock type thing, and apparently this thing came out of the woods towards them. They said that it looked like an off-white color that was covered in mud and said to be 7 foot tall and upright on 2 legs. Several other sightings in 1973, and one hearing it scream on her farm. Tracking dogs were brought in to investigate by the sheriff's department, but there was no further mention of like any outcome of it. So I'm guessing they didn't find anything, but they were brought in. So again, this is like a digital depiction of the mud monster. To me, it sounds just like a Sasquatch having waded through muggy water and came out and was muddy and stuff. So yeah, a little bit closer. So there's the mud monster. Okay, now these I've seen before in other videos, but didn't know much information on them as far as where they were. Is that like ginger cookies but stinky? A ginger Sasquatch. Yeah, like they had like, reddish hair. But what we smelled wasn't skunk, it was swampy. Could you imagine a bald Bigfoot? I could not. Okay, so the next one is the Fresno night crawlers. Now, I've seen these before, but not heard them called that before. But it was caught on surveillance camera in Fresno, California back in 2007. And they were also, I guess, seen in Yosemite Park in the United States. Now, they appear to be humanoid with 2 long legs, no arms, one's buzzing me, a small head with 2 small eyes. So this one is still not going to show up on. So this was a video I came across. So I tried to screenshot it as they came into frame and were filmed by a surveillance camera. So bear with the images. They're at a distance, but I'll try to put it up close. So there's one. Again, these are the Fresno night crawlers. There were 2 of them that were seen. And notice how long like their legs are, but they almost look like they're draped in a white fabric-y type of material. That is their bodies. It kind of moves like fabric too, which makes it even more unknown what they are. And their legs are really long and kind of move like stilts moving around back and forth as they walk. There's the 2 of them together, still moving on the video, but again, these are screenshots from the video. That one didn't show up. Okay. So local indigenous legends say that they've been here long before humans were here, which is interesting. Interesting concept. They're that old. Backwards fire truck in white. Fresno, wow, Yosemite is beautiful. Yep. Seen those on paranormal on camera. They're creepy looking. They are absolutely creepy looking. And I'm not sure what they are either, unless it's an alien form or an interdimensional, perhaps. It seems like it'd be difficult to pull off somebody dressing like that and walking in the dark. I mean, that would be pretty dangerous, actually. But their bodies do kind of remind me of like really lightweight white fabric by the way they kind of move. Like it's very fluidy moving. And their legs kind of move like stilts would walk. There's no bending of the like a knee joint or anything. It's just like straight legged. So no idea what they are. Now this next one is the Van Meter monster. So let me show you the this is from a newspaper article actually. So it shows it's this creature standing on top of a building, and you know how on some really old buildings in huge white block letters it'll list like the name of the building or the person's name that owns the building. So that's what the writing is that's on the building. Okay. So in 1903 in Van Meter, Iowa, all who saw it said that they were respectable members of the community, like a teacher and a town doctor, etc. Prehistoric man, maybe. I don't know. They always shown on red heated candid camera at night. I think that's suspicious. It makes you wonder, like, are they? It's usually filmed on a closed circuit TV, like someone's security camera or something going by, or like in a park. And again, it's like a security camera footage, and they may change the lighting of the shot to make them show up better to enhance the video. But again, I don't know if they are alien in nature or not, so I don't know. Makes you wonder if all these weird animals could be aliens. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't discount that at all. So the Van Meter monster, again, in 1903 in Van Meter, Iowa, all who saw it and reported it were respected members of the community, like a teacher, a town doctor. And like I said, when people like that report these things, they're given a little more weight than, just some backwoods person who lives out in the middle of nowhere and who never comes to town once a month to buy flour and sugar or something. Nothing against those people who do. As an aside, just saying like those who are professionals are given more weight to their stories. The first report said that it was seen flying over the buildings of Van Meter, and witnesses said that it looked like a cross between a bat and a man, having large wings and a horn on its head, and it could shoot a weird light from its head, which is a strange thing to report back in 1903 when, flashlight batteries and things like that, or the headlamps didn't exist back then as far as making this. But what again it is, who knows? The second report was where the townsmen followed it to the local mine, and it was said that it flew in and came out later with a smaller version of itself and flew away, so maybe a younger one of it. And that it was never seen again, which I find interesting. So it never returned to the area once it kind of saw that it might be being hunted. Seen it on the internet show Slapcan. Yeah, that's a good channel. I watch that a lot. It's the classic backwoods people who've been in the woods for way too long. Yeah, lasers, perhaps, Karen, right. So it could have been something, again, interdimensional or alien in nature. I don't know. Who knows? And those were the only two sightings of this thing. And it was way back in 1903, and it has never been seen or heard from again. So as you can see, this topic is really vast, and there's a mad ton of others across the world in every culture, everywhere. So, I mean, some of these reported beings could be based on local lore, superstitions, etc. People, made up at a time when people were struggling to understand the world around them and the environment and how they described them. Others, it could have very much been like again, an interdimensional being, an alien, who knows, an unidentified race that exists here on Earth. We just haven't seen enough or interacted with it enough to know what exactly it is. So there you have it, people. Unusual cryptids. So next week, I did add a couple of topics to the voting list as an aside, just so everyone knows. Let's see. Yeah, I watch slap cam stuff a lot. Yeah, it's kind of an Australian accent, Gina. So the topics to vote on for next week's show, which will be Monday, actually going into May now, May 5th, or sorry, May 3rd, sorry. We have the Knights Templar, creepypasta, which are like basically urban legends and things that have been spread around and thought to be possibly true, or different things to try that people try as experiments to see what will happen and don't always end well. Ed and Lorraine Warren, reptilian aliens. Now, these are the two I added in, phone calls from the dead, and the CIA's sleep room, which is basically a real account of hundreds of people who were experimented on via the CIA's funding. I don't want to give too much away about the topic in case it gets chosen, but scary stuff. I saw a whole video on it last night, and I was like, wow, I got to go back and write that down as a topic because, yeah, you guys will be shocked by it. So those are the topics: the Knights Templar, creepypasta, Ed and Lorraine Warren, reptilian aliens, phone calls from the dead, or CIA's sleep rooms. So let me refresh my comments. Sandy says the CIA's sleep rooms. Let me go outside. Do you hear banjos? But no. You are prettier. You're finer than a new set of snow tires. The other Sandy too says sleep rooms. Tanya says sleep rooms. Okay. Let me refresh. Let's see. And I got Tanya's. And Erin says Ed and Lorraine in the sleep rooms. Karen says CIA sleep rooms. Renee says that, as does Nancy, the sleeper rooms. Okay. And refresh. Oh, we have 18 people in here tonight. Wow, nice. Squeal like a pig, yeah. Let's see. Marianne says the sleep rooms. I'm seeing an overwhelming trend here. Squeal like, or Gina says sleep rooms too. Gotcha. Yeah, I was mortified when I saw that video about the CIA sleep room and what it entailed. It's really angering. So Stacy says CIA. Nancy says, or the Warrens. Stacy says the Warrens. Have your parents not been watching lately, Stace? Because I haven't heard anything from them in a couple of months now, I think it's been. Or at least, are they okay if they're not watching? I mean, it's okay if they choose not to, but just wondering. Where wee. Yep, I got your sleep rooms. Yeah, sleep rooms by a landslide. We've got like 10 people voted for that, who voted so far. There's still like 5 people who haven't voted, whoever they are and who's watching, but so far, yeah, definitely the CIA sleep rooms. Scary stuff, guys. I mean, what the government, it's just another example of things that the government's been allowed to get away with. It's frightening stuff. So I guess sleep rooms will be it for next week on the 3rd. Give it a circle there. And then this Wednesday is going to be the Seth Speaks book group. And I also want to talk to you guys. I'll throw it out there now for you guys to start thinking about anyway, regarding after we get done reading the Seth Speaks in the book group. Did you guys want to either pick another book from the Seth Speaks material, or possibly do like one of those 3 books that were written about Talos by the woman Aurelia who channeled them in? just thoughts to think about. And, we'll talk about it more during the book group, obviously. But we're over the halfway mark of the book. So, a couple more weeks, I would think, should be finished with it. And then Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I will be in the Beyond the Veil page on my page on Facebook. For those who are new to me, perhaps I do also have in addition to the Willows Bend group, I also have a page on Facebook called Beyond the Veil, and I do live readings in there. Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Everything starts 8 p.m. Eastern for ease of remembering, basically. If I depends if I said Brenda's name, then I got her. If I didn't, then I didn't get it. But I did see her say Sleep Rooms win by a landslide. Yes, or yes, no, Dr. James or Brenda lately. Yeah, I haven't seen them lately, Aaron, and Stacy hasn't answered yet. So, I mean, again, if they chose not to watch anymore, or I knew originally they were having trouble getting in when I was up on the other network, but you can't get much easier the way it is now. Just click the screen and it opens up for you and you're in the feed. So it's frustrating that my comments keep freezing tonight. Sandy's wants Talos. Yeah, I was discussing it last night. I was bad last night as a procrastinator and got into a late night discussion with Chris Stokes about what to possibly move on. Yeah, and that I did actually do a show on the book, The Celestine Prophecy, ages ago. I will go with any book. I love the group, and I can do it that day. Cool, Deb. Yeah, because I don't have those books about Talos, but they're certainly not any more than what the Seth Speaks books are. And if I picked up one a month or something, that's not going to be affordable, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But there's 3 of them. And they are on Amazon, and you can get a used copy. Again, $12-15 tops. So anyway, like I said, we'll discuss it more during the book group, or if there's any other ones that people want to be interested in, but or review the list and assess material further, or again to see what else is there. That's an option too. You have to be on camera in the book group, Seth. No, you don't have to be on camera. Excuse me, it is in video chat, but you can shut your camera off so you don't have to get seen. Although why you don't want to get seen, I'm not sure. But yes, you can choose to turn your camera off. So that is the thing. But yeah, it happens via video chat. So the room is just like Video Messenger is, like a video chat in Messenger. It's just called a room when it's in a group on Facebook. I think we should do the Seth materials. I just don't mind looking at the ceiling. A lot of times, yes, I do know what your ceiling looks like now, Tanya. Stace, did you hear what I asked about your parents? Or do Edgar Casey? That's a suggestion too. So yeah, so we'll run through different options during the book group. I just want to kind of throw it out to you guys right now to see. Nancy, there is when you come into the room, you pull up on the screen, like you touch it and pull upward, and a little menu will open up that has like a camera icon, a microphone icon. Like lots of times whilst I'm reading, people will mute their mics so they can do other things while listening without being heard what you're doing, whatever, for privacy's sake. Or so you don't get feedback, coming through your microphone while I'm reading, because it can sometimes cause an echo on air or whatever. But yeah, so you just click on the button that has the camera icon and it shuts your camera off, and then you're off camera, but you're still in the room to hear it. Yeah, some people are shy. Yes, Kieran often uses the Grinch filter. So it would be at 8:00 at night. I always do it on a Wednesday, Nancy, for the book group, 8:00 at night Eastern time. And again, if you chose not to be, that's your choice. There's no pressure. It's very relaxed in there. I don't even put makeup on for it, if that says anything. I don't care how I look for it. It's just a handful of us in there for it, and we just hang out. We read a couple chapters, and then we discuss them, ask questions, whatever. So Love to you too, Lori. Um, I mean, we could possibly do a show on Edgar Allan Poe. Uh, I mean, I've read certain specific stories of his, but I don't have like a particular life, like an autobiography. Well, it wouldn't be autobiography, he didn't write one, but like a collection of his stories or something, or his life story. And I don't have anything like that. So I'd have to, whatever book we read next, I'm going to have to buy it anyway. So yeah, you can add a filter to your photo or whatever to give you a backdrop, change how you look, whatever. We play with them a lot of times during it. Oh, yes, Lori, you look so terrible on camera. Goodness gracious, wear a bag over your head, girl. Ridiculous. Yeah, I don't wear makeup for it. I mean, I do for this show because it's broadcast globally, but in there it is just a handful of us that come in the group for just that. So there's like 10 or 12 of us when we start. We weed down to maybe 5 by the end. So if people step out or in as they choose, or if they have to work the next day, whatever, they may leave early. I always give a summary when we start of what's been covered up to that point in case someone's new coming to it. People are curious and want to check it out, whatever. So, yeah, you're welcome if you want to come, Nancy. How's that? It's usually like Marianne, me, sometimes Renee, Lori is in and out. Annette sometimes pops in. Karen's there. I'm there, obviously. Chris Stokes comes. Gina sometimes. Sandy's there because we got a tablet, so she can be there. Stacy's there. So yeah, there's just like our regulars. No big deal. Very relaxed. We need breaks, take breaks, whatever. It's all good. So let me refresh my comments again. Love to you too, Deb. Well, the Grinch looks pretty unkempt, Karen. I have to pluck my chin hairs to wear a mess. Oh, stop it. Goodness gracious. Each of you is beautiful the way you are. What would you say to me if I said something like that? You would slap the crap out of me virtually if I were to say something like that, right? So why is it okay for you, but not for me? Double standards, people. Double standards. Just saying. You know. Yep, oh, Sandy's there too. Yep, forgot you. Sorry, Sandy. I don't care. Like, it's a very relaxed atmosphere, in other words. It's at 8 p.m. Wednesday night. The ad is in the group, Sandy or Nancy. Um, I always post it ahead of time, just like I do with the ads for this show. The night before, it's already posted in the group, pinned to the top of the page, and you just click on it to get in. It should show up in your notifications as well. And it may be in your messenger as well. It might be in there, the link, or just go into the group. The gray tabs that are underneath the group photo, there's one that says rooms. Just click on the rooms one, and boom, bada bing, bada boom, you're in. It's really, really, blah, 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 blah. Really simple. So yeah, 8 p.m. Wednesday nights, this book group. Because I'm the boss lady. Pants are not required because you're only shown the chest up. Because I'm the boss lady, please. Well, again, if I were to bad talk myself, you would be all over me like crazy, guys, beating me up. So, honey, the F bomb is a very popular word in my vocabulary. So, bras are not. I can't wear one anymore, Brenda. So I'm not able to because my shoulder is demolished and I can't tolerate the straps. So yeah, be comfortable. That's it. It's not a big deal. So anyways, so that's the schedule. So Wednesday night is the book group, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're finishing up the Seth Speaks Eternal Validity of the Soul book. Friday, I will be in the Beyond the Veil page on Facebook for readings, and then back in here next Monday, May 5th, or sorry, I want to say May 5th, it's May 3rd, and we'll be covering the CIA's sleep rooms. So anybody have any questions or comments or otherwise, feel free to leave one anywhere that you are seeing us on Soma Fusion or in my group, The Willows Bend. Anyone who's watching outside of The Willows Bend on Facebook, you're welcome to join my group. It's a kind of a spiritual group where everybody's accepted. I don't tolerate any disrespect or crap. No drama, definitely not. I have a good resource library in there covering different topics and stuff. So, yeah, we're family in there. So feel free to check that out if you choose to. Um, yeah, that's just because you have to get in. That's what it's a virtual room, Nancy. So it wants you to turn on your camera and microphone. Do it initially to come into the room, but then you can shut it off as you choose and still be in there. So, yeah, it's we're very relaxed. Yep, supermoon's tonight. The pink moon. This pink supermoon. Yeah, some devices give feedback during when I'm reading, and so if we mute our mics when I'm reading, you turn it on and unmute when you have a comment or question, you want to say something, whatever. Get my attention if I'm reading. Then, and I do stop periodically throughout it. Say, everybody with me. You got understand that one. What just if I think it's a little complicated, I'll explain it, whatever. So, yeah, all good guys. Whatever. We're very relaxed in there. So, anyways, I will say thank you so much to everybody who has watched, listened, observed, otherwise across the globe. I appreciate that. And of course, to my regular viewers in my group, thank you all as well, and much love to all of you. And I will see those who are interested Wednesday night in the Willows Bend on Facebook, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for book group. And otherwise, I will see everybody on Soma Fusion Network next Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the night. Talk to you guys soon. Love you.